We were just talking off camera, and I was like, I'm kind of, critical at points, and you said you had saw my criticism video, and really, it's not really about criticizing you. It's more so about trying to give,
the right guys,
attention or respect to what dirt guys are doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. I mean, I saw the video, and it was all fair points. I was terrible at Charlotte in my heat and last chance. That's why I really focused on this one. I went to school, went to work, and started realizing that a lot of guys lift down the straightaway when they're straight, and then when they turn and get it pointed and get it up on the bars, they're throttled up. And at Charlotte, I drove in the corner. I'm used to driving in the corner and then lifting, and they were in the gas or in the fuel, as all these dirt guys say, and I bailed out of it. And I'm just not good with the bars yet,
right.
And this place being as technical it is has helped me tremendously.
Well, and it wasn't really criticism of what your performance was. It's more so I feel like generally, the competition level of, say, NASCAR compared to dirt, society-wise, has kind of looked like high school, college, AAA, pro. And that's just kind of not the case. I guess you are, or you did get a little bit of a taste of that.
Yeah, I don't care if it's the Bombers at the Joe Schmo racetrack, or the World 100, the Gateway Dirt Nationals, Knoxville Nationals with sprint cars. It's all hard now. It's all hard. There's no team here building all the cars like they did 20 years ago, building all their motors. Like everybody can buy the same stuff at some point, and it's just about putting the pieces together and really. And I think that's why it's so hard now. Is you've only got a certain things. There's so much technology involved now, and everybody's good. Like I my third ever race, and I can pick it up decently quick. I mean, there's so much from iRacing to simulators to just YouTube. Honestly, I've watched 1,000 videos. Flow Racing was huge. At the learning curve, I feel like, in everybody, no matter what you're doing, is up now. Like it's insane. Like even on the truck stuff. That's why we see 12, 13-year-old kids haul ass. I mean,
right.
Whatever the way it's worked, the generation worked down, whatever the case, everybody's gotten smarter, everybody's gotten closer, and you could have 120 cars show up, and 70 of them you could write down as an A-main contender.
Right. Well, it seems like, though, it is a little bit cheaper on how much it costs to compete. Therefore, it seems like there's more competitors on a more equal playing field, whereas you get into the NASCAR stuff, it's so expensive. There's only so many cars that can afford to run up front. Yeah. We know that on asphalt, drivers are restricted based on their vehicle, and it seems like that sometimes plays a factor as far as the element of how competitive the fields are.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I love dirt racing. Is like I get frustrated, and honestly, just like start to get frustrated with myself on the NASCAR side, just because sometimes it does feel like that. You only go so fast because the equipment, or just like if you unload and you're struggling, setup wasn't there, simulation, whatever the case may be, there's 1,000 factors. There's only so much you can do from behind the wheel because those other guys are good. Everybody's so close. We're here. I mean, if you want to be a big badass and put it on the fence, you can go find a 10th or two,
right,
and you can make it up, or you can make it happen as a driver, and you can, there's the badass effect, that you'll never get, minus Ross Chastain's deal.
Right.
That, that's probably the closest we're ever going to get on the asphalt side, but you can't go on the fence with 2 laps to go and all of a sudden run them down from 7 car lengths because you found 3-4 tenths by just putting it on that razor thin edge. So that's why I have so much respect for all these guys, and just want to learn how to do it. Honestly, Nice Motorsports built this car because Al Nice wanted to get a World Outlaw sprint car, and I already broke my ankle in a truck. They don't want me in a sprint car. They already said no sprint cars.
Well, I mean, you look at the projection of dirt, though. It looks like, that could be an avenue where if you want to be a full-time racer in America, it's not back to cost. It only costs so much, and you can win so much.
The problem is my learning curves. I got to win a lot. That's the thing. But
well, I mean, you're tall and pretty enough to get sponsors. So
true.
I mean,
it helps.
No pun intended.
But obviously the NASCAR thing helps, and getting the provisional here, I ran third in the LCQ. I feel bad for the guy that ran second.
You were running good, though.
I was close. I was 2 spots away from making it, and went 18th and 9th in my prelim before breaking a drive shaft. So I felt like we should have been in or had a shot. I felt like me getting the provisional, I felt like I earned the spot or earned it a little bit more than if I ran, if I was out of it all night and they were like, hey, put your suit back on, go run. I was at least close and felt like I somewhat could have
earned the
myself.
provisional.
Yeah. Obviously I feel bad for the guy in second, and I also contemplated a little bit and felt like if it was fair of me to take it or not, and ultimately I couldn't turn it down. It would have been too much fun for me, and I'm a greedy race car driver like anybody else. Promoter said,
well, and there were only like 11 cars that finished, and you were one of those that finished.
I broke with 5 to go and ran 12th, but ultimately that helped pay for this and pay for what we broke, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's been good, and there's just, I love dirt racing, and this is the closest thing going back, the closest thing we could get to. A lot of guys knew dirt late models, so that's why it was a little bit easier for us to. My interior guy was the crew chief on this deal all night, and a handful of guys on my undercarriage guys ran dirt late models, and my 40 engineer. So there's a handful of guys that know dirt late models, and none of them know sprint cars. That's why this one was the easy one for us. And plus, too, I'd probably be a squirrel without anything in a sprint car. Where it's a stock car.
Well, I heard you picked up the midget pretty well.
I wouldn't say that. I got it somewhat, but no. I feel way better in this, and way more confident just being heavy and being as fast as I am when trucks go to dirt racing. It's honestly kind of translated, and even when I go asphalt racing, I can see why Kyle Larson's it translates, honestly.
Right.
It's just, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I ran Eldora and then Kansas, and I had to go run the fence at Kansas, and instead of a cushion, it was an air pocket on the wall. It translates, and I can see the value, and everybody does, and we got a few sponsors that are hopefully going to come over to the NASCAR side, but honestly, I think they had more fun here.
Right, so you're saying you're going to quit NASCAR and go full-time dirt then? Correct?
I wouldn't say that.
We are recruiting over here,
I mean, I'd love to run 20 or 30. They brought me a schedule of 60 races for next
Those
year.
cars over there can hold you back, though, in NASCAR. I mean, Kyle Larson's a great example. 6 years in the Ganassi ride, only 6 wins.
Yeah.
He gets into a good Hendrick ride and sets the world on fire.
That's right.
That's how much those cars, some consider him the greatest of all time. Apparently for 6 years, the greatest of all time could only average 1 win a year. Yeah, but that's the car, That's got to be frustrating as a driver.
It is. And obviously, there's a lot of politics involved and rule changes and sponsors and
monarchies.
If you have a ride, you could win 3 races and be out of a ride. You win championship and be out of a ride just because you don't got the money, or all of a sudden your ride's a hot ticket and somebody's willing to pay more. Where here, I don't know the silly season stuff, but it seems like drivers actually get hired. It's one of the last divisions to actually hire drivers and pay them. But it's a testament, honestly, to all the racetracks and all the race series paying money. Dirt late models are honestly. I don't pay attention to the sprint cars, but just from what I've seen and what I've learned and tried to gather from the late model side, especially after seeing that list of earnings. It's the only series paying what it should. Or only division really paying what it should.
And the price to own a full operation is about the price to rent a competitive truck or a competitive, Xfinity's actually a little bit more than that.
Yeah, granted, there are sponsors that will pay, and there are a few instances NASCAR-wise that drivers are hired, but more times than not, you're bringing your own sponsors and stuff. Where here, that's what I'm doing. But Nice Motorsports foot the bill and wanted, and they were confident in me, and honestly, I wasn't too confident myself, and that's why they put Tyler in for the World 100, really shake it down and know exactly what it's doing. And I feel like I somewhat proved I can figure it out, or at least can show progress and for this, and hopefully some people have seen that, and if they didn't, then I'm not trying to please them. I'm just
I saw it. Like I said, I feel like I should apologize.
No,
I get caught up sometimes,
and that's why I love dirt racing, man. You guys say what it is. I hate the
cookie cutters.
The cookie cutters. I hate that.
The whiplash of a sponsor.
Yeah, that too. And granted, I got a really big company, but they love the the personality and stuff. Granted, you gotta watch around the edges, but as long as you're out there, that's what they really want. And I just don't. I think there's too many people scared to get out of that elm, and it's. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a handful of companies that actually like it, and obviously dirt fans and dirt racing, that's what it's known for. But even on the NASCAR side, I think it's like a forgotten art, like to have a personality just because it was NASCAR either find you or whatever the case may be. But I think it really is if people actually. I mean, look at Noah Gragson. He's a Cup guy. He's the funnest to watch and funnest to interview, and he's puking all over himself after a win. But it's cool. It keeps it entertaining, and he's going Cup racing with sponsors and stuff, and that's why people like him. And he's told me straight up he'll be in the sport for a long time just because he's got the relations. People love him or hate him, but people that love him can help fund it.
All right. Okay. Well, I don't want your elbow to get hit by the door coming up. But, I was impressed tonight, and that's good. I just get sometimes frustrated. I don't think dirt racers get enough recognition or mainstream glamour for their talents.
Trust me, I was blown away when Tyler, did that move in the heat race. I was blown away they didn't catch it, but they also didn't catch flips and stuff. So, that's a tough one for that one. So I shouldn't dogpile on FS1 being that they have barely any crew out there. Their announcers are in Charlotte, so they're not.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying dirt racers in trucks. No, I'm just saying dirt racers in general, racing in general.
That's a good example, though. I think, I think that was the biggest thing in dirt racing for this sort of scene of a guy getting a shot just by winning a race.
Right, true.
I think that was a good example on how people are going to view dirt late model guys, or that was right up his alley. Being on dirt and stuff, and he was a storyline, and either they were scared to talk about him just because he's who he is,
or he just doesn't have big funding behind him to pay for a year. Why promote a guy who can't be there the next week?
Yeah, that's true. It's just a tough deal, and honestly, I don't think a single broadcaster is perfect. Me and you can say hey, we gotta see this, we gotta see that, and obviously everybody's been critical of the NASCAR scene and stuff. But
conspiracy theory, Kanye.
I don't keep up with that. But no, I think Flow Racing honestly does the best job.
Right.
And even that, I love that they're critical. Honestly, my favorite beyond word or beyond anybody was the Racing Boys broadcast at the Chili Bowl, because it felt like the commentators. I was sitting in the stands talking with them, because if you messed up or somebody messed up or somebody did something stupid, they called it out. They said it. They were real about it. They weren't, I don't think he meant to do that. Like if he's jumping cushion, they're I can't really be doing that. They're just, it's genuine and it's fresh, and when Flo taking over, I think Flo is very, very big on why dirt racing is really. I think it's taken off, or starting to grow a lot, but that could also be too. I'm finally starting to pay attention.
Okay. Well, I kind of got in a little trouble over the weekend. I don't know if you've heard about this. I would like your opinion. If it's going to rise, I think there is somewhat of a stigma stereotype that dirt racing is rednecks going in circles, and I feel like we had a driver yesterday kind of act in a certain way that emphasizes that stereotype. Do you think that
NASCAR's the same way though? They're rednecks, or they're just asphalt pansies, or whatever the case may be. They have names for everybody, and the biggest thing is I think probably 60% probably are rednecks, right?
Okay. Yes, this is true.
They probably are, but as long as
I just don't want the sport to be the bus and cars.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean by that? The bus. When Lightning McQueen went to the dirt track and it's the bus with the I don't want that to be the portrayal of what this is, because it's not.
No, it's not. No.
And I just think instances like that.
You got people with more expensive haulers than NASCAR haulers out here, but they're also racing 92 to 100 times a year. They're going to have the nicest stuff just because it's easier to work with.
And you need it.
Yeah, it's a necessity, where for us it's just more for show. We don't. Yeah, we need the size of it, but nobody is racing each other anymore. When they had bazillion-dollar budgets and the sport was up and they just needed to burn money, they're all racing each other on who could have the nicest hauler. But now it's just whoever. I mean, this is an old truck hauler, and it not near any niceness to belong on here, but it's just the stacker, so we get to be on the front. But yeah, I think, like, I mean, the sport's obviously not just a bunch of rednecks, but obviously
it's just a stereotype that it does get.
And I don't think it'll ever go away, unfortunately. But I think paying big money in big races, but also too, if you're trying to get rid of the stereotype, I'd hate to lose the personalities. I mean, I want to buy that guy's shirt.
Right. I mean, I said it too.
Yeah,
I said it too.
It's awesome. Like it's cool. The guy wrecked. He got out and was all pumped up, all excited, and flipped over and was.
Well, I just don't want a new person to see a person making a joke of his own car getting destroyed. It's like, if the driver thinks this is a joke, why would I think of it anything but a joke as well?
I agree and see that, but I mean, if everybody has the same deal of the same interview after they crash, it's going to be everybody's going to have the same interview. So I mean, if there's people excited to be
variety,
it got the crowd pumped up. They're excited. Like, seeing flips is cool to some people. You know, it is what it is, and seeing a guy like explain it and, you know, not be too hard and not say, oh, you know, it sucks and this and that, and you know, oh, you know, they had a good car and this and that. You know, he was just honest and said what he felt, and they asked him about it and made some jokes and whatnot, and got the crowd pumped up. And I think if the guy's that excited, I mean, I got out, broke my drive shaft, and I was pumped up and excited on after my prelim, just because I was out there and I made some cool moves, and I was excited. Like, if you're not in that spot, and you know, that could have been the biggest moment of his life, and he flipped over and he was still on cloud 9. You know, if the guys get out excited and are excited on the mic, then the crowd's going to be excited and wanting to be there. And I think that's more important.
So my apology to you should go to my apology to him for being critical of that.
No, I mean, dude, if you lost,
it's just an opinion, right?
Dude, if you lost your opinion just because you're critical, then you're no better than the rest of the world.
Right. Exactly.
You got to say what you felt, and if you upset some people, it is what it is.
Right. And well, you know that better than anybody.
I mean, if we all just said what we felt, to an extent, but I think the sport would be a lot better, and I think the world honestly would be a lot better. Not that I know anything, but more times than not, it's, you know, I want to. People could smell BS right away. I mean, there's a reason. Like even doing business-to-business stuff now, like with this company and stuff, they've talked about so many times that emails don't work anymore and you got to call. But 10 years ago when the internet was in, it was all email. Right. You know, just because it was exciting and new and everything. And but you see an email trying to sell you on something, you're instantly going to click off of it. You know.
And people like sincerity, you know. And I feel like
they appreciate you driving 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours just to go talk with them, deal or no deal. You know, they're genuine, you know, and I think that same goes for racing. It applies to anything. If there's a level of careness and a level of genuine, good, bad, or different, people are going to see that and respect that.
Well, I respect what you're saying. I don't think I could have commented on that instance any other way. I just kind of just said what I felt. So you're saying don't apologize, just say what you feel and let it happen.
Like, and you don't have to apologize. And if your mind changed, just say your mind changed. Like, that's all you got to do.
But don't fake apologize. That's worse than anybody in the world. So, you're so smart. I don't know why we have not recruited you to dirt already.
No, I mean,
you're done. Your NASCAR career is over. Just end it now. This is where it's going, man. NASCAR is the IRL in the early '90s, and this is new NASCAR. This is new NASCAR. Brandon Shepard has Budweiser now.
Yeah,
I mean, this is happening.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd love to grow with dirt, but I think honestly both could help on both levels. You know, and my ultimate goal is cup racing, right? So that's my dream, and I'll probably.
Or if your mind has changed, just say it's changed. You just said it. I mean, this is true. All right, you got a lot of people. I mean, there's a line. I don't want to ruin your time anymore.
Good.
Maybe we'll have to get you to call in and actually do a show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alrighty.
This is how we ride. This is how we do. Riding mud, sliding up high.